Hi everyone, this is Michelle Faust with Lemonade Legend, and I specialize in amplifying the voice of people who have gone through some real breakthrough moment. I do this through content writing, podcast, and promotional books, but it's really all about putting out stories of really amazing women who have a vision much stronger than their fear. So I love to share those stories and give them the exposure that they so deserve for all of their amazing efforts to get past stumbling blocks. Right now, we're in the middle of a series promoting a book that I have compiled with 18 other authors, and it's called The Lemonade Stand. So right now I am having my guests are my collaborators who are part of the book. And so today we have Alicia Laszewski, and she's in Florida. Amazing, wonderful woman that I recently came across and met. And you are the founder of Brand Ethos. So we'll hear a little bit more about that. But welcome, Alicia.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. It's happy to
Yeah,
be a part of something so special.
thank you. Thank you for being a part of it, because it is all the women who have jumped on board, been brave enough, because, it's a lot of things, it's been a financial investment, but more than that, it's about being vulnerable and sharing your story, your private story. And that's true with everyone who's in the book. And that is an incredibly brave thing to do. And in fact, everybody has put a word out, a word or a word phrase that represents what they feel about their story. And yours is be brave. So brave is a
Right.
great word to be starting off with. Um, So I want to talk in depth about who you are and what you're all about. But I'd like to go ahead, because we are promoting the book, but we don't want to, give away the farm, so to speak.
Yeah.
So what would be your teaser, your little bit that you're willing to share
Yeah.
about your story that's in the book?
Wow. It was funny because when we first talked about it, I think my comment to you was, "Well, I don't know that I'm that interesting." And it's funny because when I've told people, they're like, "Wow, you really actually have a really cool story." So I mean, it's flattering. And I mean, I'm just an everyday mom. I have 4 kids and a big job, and so really my story, without giving away everything, was last year was a tremendous year of transformation. I'm an open book, figuratively. I have a great village of network of family and friends, and I talk about my fears and everything very openly. But last year was probably the most challenging year, not only medically for me, but professionally. And so to really, a lot of time, what do they say? Like, you can't have more than one major life thing at a time. So you can't get divorced and change jobs or whatever. I guess there's like ratings of what the most stressful things to go through are. And you should try not to do them at the same time, And so
Kind of a good idea.
that's kind of a good idea. So here I was, and really through a pretty significant medical journey, ended up becoming really the genesis for Brand Ethos, which is my own marketing firm that I had dreamed about for years. And, I've had a pretty big corporate career, that we can talk about, but really it just became medical. And then just like, okay, now, if you're really going to live your best life and go through something, you got to just do it,
Yeah.
So my chapter is about kind of breaking through all of the things, which didn't mean I wasn't afraid, because I'm still afraid of many things, but just about, if you have faith and bravery, you can do anything that you put your mind to. And not to discriminate against men, because I think men could probably resonate with the story, but we as women, I think, gain a lot of strength from kind of hearing someone else that's successful and thinking, well, I could do that too. So I hope it works.
Well, what I have said probably a couple of times, and I'll say it again because it just never gets old to me, is the reason the book, you know, is about women, for women, is because in my experience, especially as a podcaster and talking to a lot of female business leaders and whatnot, what I have found is it's not that the men don't have health problems and challenges and fears and all kinds of things, but women are far more likely to talk about it and share. They are much more interested in, well, or accepting, I should say would be a better word, accepting of support. And the thing that really has blown me away as I'm meeting and reading the stories and going through this is the kind of mental and emotional transformation that women make in a very positive way after going through some of these challenges. I don't see that as much from men. So guys out there, you can learn from this.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the ones who do, that'll be my next book.
Right, absolutely.
But a couple of comments I wanted to make because, you talk about an ordinary mom, your kids, blah, blah, One of my sort of tagline too is, and one of the purposes of the book is not to promote a bunch of superhero women, because we're not superheroes. We're amazing, but but it's all about ordinary people that can do extraordinary things. And if you put your mind to it, that's what takes you out of the ordinary and gives you a story. And I've read your story, and it is amazing. It is incredible. And I think for you, it was the combination of things that were going on, combination of things in your family life and health issues and whatnot that really made it an incredible story. Because you're right, it's hard to juggle a bunch of different negative things going on. And to keep it all together and make sure your kids are happy and getting to soccer practice and all the things, that you have to do to keep just even your own family together. And fear was a big thing for you.
Oh, yeah. It really, and it continued, look, I have a friend of mine who I love her like a sister. And I have a sister that I just literally could not put on a bigger pedestal, but fear is different for different people. So the friend in particular, she's like, Alicia, my doctor said, they saw something in my blood work. And, I just didn't worry about it until after the next blood test. And I'm thinking, that puts me to my knees. It really puts me to my knees. And, so it was interesting, last year when I went through and there's stuff that's not even in the book. My husband was in ICU for like 10 days, like in the middle of my whole medical thing.
Oh no. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He was the one and only case of the measles in Florida. Vaccinated, by the way. He was vaccinated and he got it on a business trip in Asia. Can you imagine? Comes back and almost, it was really, really bad. 10 days.
Wow.
Super sick. I'm in between surgeries but then trying to keep it together for my kids. And I would come home every day, and he was in isolation, as you can probably imagine.
Oh,
and
sure.
I would come home, I would sit in the waiting room because I remember, when my medical stuff, I would tell him, I'm like, look, you're my wingman. Okay. So someone's got to be watching those nurses and doctors. So I remember thinking, okay, so here I have like threatened him to be my wingman. And I was like, I'm just going to sit in the lobby, even though I can't be in the room. And I would sit in the lobby so that they knew that he had a wing woman with him. And then every hour I would do a lap and I would stand outside his door waiting for someone to come in or out, just so that they knew someone was watching. And I think as a woman and as a mom, I think that was maybe my way of like trying to like control the situation in a weird kind of way or handle my fear. But regardless, I think you hit the point on the head is that we as women will talk about it. We're open about it. But it doesn't mean it doesn't rock us to our core, Right.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, that's another dynamic to your story. Not that I want you to go back and rewrite it, because we're too close to publication, so we're sticking with what you got. But that is pretty amazing.
I could share that because I chose not to include it. One, because there's a word count, and two, I needed to explain the whole thing. You'd be surprised how many people on Facebook, because it was, man in Broward County has the measles, and people were posting, this is why we have to vaccinate. And all I wanted to say was, it's Corey, and he was vaccinated. Like,
well, there's always that like 1% out there, whatever, that strange, odd, and who knows, the strain in Asia could have been
exactly
something entirely,
That could be its own chapter, but regardless, again, I had different things being thrown at me, to your point, and you just kind of, you keep jumping through them, and we handle them, and we just come out on the other side stronger and better, and that's what I've tried to do, and will continue to try to do.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, great story, and I hope people are really out there looking for it to come out so they can read a little bit more. It is in your story, but it's not really giving away your story, but I loved hearing about your family background too. I have to tell you a little bit of a secret. When we first talked on the phone, so I didn't have an image of what you look like, anything else, and you told me that your family is from Cuba. And that you speak perfect Spanish, but you have a Southern accent. It made me laugh, because I'm on the phone talking to you, and I'm like, oh my God, she does have a Southern accent. She doesn't sound at all like what her background, if you would imagine.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny to me, but I love Southern accents, so don't lose it.
Yeah. I think I may have lived here longer than I lived in South Carolina. I left South Carolina after college, and I still call South Carolina home, even though technically this was probably longer. And it dawned on me the other day, when I talk about my kids that have like school field trips to learn about the history of Florida, I'm like,
yeah.
Nothing about where my kids are from. I should probably get more vested into this history of where they're from, because I know all of where I'm from. Both, where my parents, where I'm from. So, it's interesting when we're us Southerners, how connected we are to it. And my brother still lives there, so I do have a connection, and my sister-in-law.
And you've got, I want to say, an aunt, and there's somebody in Spain, and I mean, you're all over the place, right?
My mom's parents were from Spain.
Okay,
so,
that's where I got that from. Yeah, okay.
My mom's parents were born and raised in Spain, and in fact, I think my mom's older sister was actually born in Spain too. So,
okay.
There's just a lot of different pieces to me, and then I have Laszewski as my Polish last name that I married into. So I don't know what to do with me when they see me, and they're like, "Does she speak Spanish? But where's the accent?" And then you got the last name; it's a little odd. So
yeah, well, you're just an incredibly interesting soup mix.
Yeah, exactly.
For lack of a better word on that. So one of the things that I'm really trying to promote with the book, not only the individual stories, the strengths, vision people have, but it's also very much a business book as well, because everyone who are collaborators, they've all become very successful businesswomen in their own rights, and in some cases it's sort of been because of what they went through. I get the sense you can kind of say that about you in terms of jumping off in the entrepreneurial world. Obviously, you're very successful in your corporate world, but your story, your life, what you powered through, really kind of pushed you out into the entrepreneurial world. Am I right?
Very much so. Yeah, very much so. And, I had a big corporate background, and, I worked in television for a while, and then jumped into, if you've ever heard of Extended Stay America hotels, I was, I think, employee number 26, so, and that was really, I call that kind of my MBA, because I got to learn how to grow a company from the ground up. And these were the same guys that had grown Blockbuster, it was a Wayne Huizinga company, one of the most respectable businessmen of our time. And I mean, even though he's passed away, I think his legend will live on forever. And he just ran great companies. George Johnson, who was the other co-founder, was from South Carolina. And so I grew the company with them from 0 to 310 hotels. And when you get to do that and really be an industry changing hotel brand plus grow so rapidly, you learn how to do it, right? And
Oh, sure.
taught me
Yeah.
obviously, how I should do it, but that really learned how to do it. And then I went on, to work in other corporate jobs and, had to burn off a non-compete. So I was the chapter executive at the Red Cross for a couple of years, and that was interesting. But really, it's been fun to work in different industries and to watch companies grow. And when I think about now being an entrepreneur and watching my own business grow, it's hard. I mean, it's not easy, and it's not easy to figure out what clients I want to work with. And the hardest thing to do, and especially like in a small business like mine, is when to say no and when to say, probably not a good fit for me. And I don't know if I had done this, Michelle, 10 years ago, that I would have had the courage, right, to say no to certain clients, or the foresight to say, you know what, either they don't share my moral compass, or I don't like the way they speak to me, and I just don't want, it could be that simple, and it's just not going to be a fit because I know myself and I know really what inspires me to do great work for people. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic that I'm doing it on my own now, which is cool. It's very cool.
Well, and again, I want to talk about what my exposure has been to business leaders and whatnot, not only through my own marketing and content writing business, but mostly through podcasting. You get to talk to a lot of people and get a sense of what it takes to jump into the entrepreneurial world. I used to say I'm so fascinated with entrepreneurs, and that's why I was like podcasting and talking to all these people. And then one day it kind of dawned on me, it's like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur too.
Yes, you are.
And I didn't really put that label on me because I didn't see myself in that really magnificent, I'm running and growing a business. But I mean, you hit so many things that, jumping off of the benefits wagon, maybe your husband had that, and that's an important thing because if you don't, that's a big deal. But yeah, I have certainly struggled with I need to say no, because as an entrepreneur, you feel so beholden to anybody who says, I might want to hire you, and you're just like, yes, because that's what I'm in business for. And then you realize it's just not a good fit. And you can't grow if you're not working with the right, I should say, you're not going to grow the way you want to and with the kind of satisfaction if you're picking the wrong clients. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, I tried this a few years ago. I was in a position where my husband was like, you can try it, and kind of circumstances with the company I was with, kind of made it so. And I was doing it, but I was just taking anything and pricing myself low. And then, and that wasn't really serving me. And I wasn't enjoying the work I was doing because I knew I was undervalued, and that doesn't feel good. Especially when you have the type of experience. I mean, not that I'm great, but I've done a lot, and I am good at what I do. So, so then I was like, well, I'm going to just take a break from marketing completely. And I became a spinning instructor. And I loved it. And my friends were like, and I was like, if I can only make more money doing this. And so my friends were like, well, start your own gym. And, you of all people can do this. You could build some national franchise. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And then I ended up going back into the corporate world. And then I don't think, again, if I had not gone back into the corporate world and done what I did on a global level, which was my last job, I was a global CMO, everything happened for a reason. And
it does, yeah.
Timing was spot on, whether it was the medical journey that you hear about in the book, or with how that was born in Brand Ethos. And, so I don't think Brand Ethos would be what it is today had I really tried to do it the way I'm doing it now 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Does that make sense? Everything is happening at the right time. And also the people that are in my life that are helping me build Brand Ethos. So, sometimes you can't force something. And I think that's a big lesson for entrepreneurs. It's like, you got to seize the moment when the time is right, whether it's the right clients, but don't force it either, And
it'll never be perfect. So,
Right.
Being the right time and being perfect are two very different things, and forget being perfect.
Yeah, there is no perfect time. Exactly right. That's what they say, when you're trying to have kids. There's like, well, there's no really perfect time to start trying to have a baby. You're either just, you're in it,
Let it happen.
Let it happen. Exactly.
So what do you, I'm trying to word this, I'm not really stumbling as much as I'm trying to think how I want to word this. What kind of freedom or gratification are you getting from brand ethos and running that versus what you were doing in marketing in your corporate life?
Well, so the good news, and I think a big lesson that I'd love to kind of share is that, I did have the flexibility. Ever since I became a mom, I did have some flexibility to either work from home. After I picked up my kids at school, I did have someone watching them. So it's not like, what people are afraid of. If somebody says they're going to work from home, oh yeah, they're really I had somebody watching my kids, but I was at least home, and something happened, I was right there. And that made me work in a much more focused manner. You know what I mean? Yeah. If they were sick or something, yes, the nanny was with them, but at least I was a minute away, in the other room. So, so I've always had that benefit. But I think what for me is, I thought that came with a price, and that either came with, well, I've got flexibility, therefore I shouldn't get paid what I'm worth, or I should put up with things that are not the ideal work environment, for example, and again, that can run across a lot of different companies. I'm not pinpointing anybody as specific, but I think we as women in particular, because we do want to be the great mom, and we want to be the one that goes to their basketball games and their cheerleading and all the stuff that I get to do. What I can do now as the CEO of Brand Ethos and the founder is, I think I can do that guilt-free. And really be very present. And I can compartmentalize, when you work from home for a company, you actually work 24 hours a day. I mean, my last company that was headquartered in Singapore, if I got up to drink water in the middle of the night, I was, checking my email. And, the first thing that I did in the morning, was not, it was did what came in overnight, and, nervousness. And no one should live like that. So I'm feeling much more at peace, much more focused in Brand Ethos, and really making a difference for my clients and letting that be my beacon. I won't take a client if I don't feel like I can make a difference. Just won't take it. So
that's great. Now, is Brand Ethos international, or you focus more on local?
Yeah, maybe a little international. I don't have any internationally based clients right now.
Okay.
But I do have one that has offices that's based in the U.S. and they have offices in the Dominican Republic and an office in India. And I'm not opposed to doing anything international. But right now, I think I'm just trying to grow it in the most intelligent way possible. Let's just say that, you know what I mean? And and I think with the resources I have in place, it's better to, keep things stateside, but I'm good at international, and I certainly know how to do it, and I'm bilingual, and I have resources all over the world that can help me do it. So if I do get that magic client, I know I could find the right people to do the work. So.
Well, as you say, everything comes, at the right time. So that client, if they're out there, is going to find you, and it'll be a great match. And how exciting is that?
Yeah.
And then you can start writing off your, flight to travel international.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even better.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah.
My 6 plane tickets for the whole family to go. So.
That's great. Now, you have 3 kids, right?
Well, there's 4. I have a stepson that I've been his life since he was.
Who's your kid?
Yeah. Trust me, he lives here. And he's amazing. And he actually works at Brand Ethos. So,
really?
Yeah, he's finishing his senior year in sports marketing, and he does a lot of our social media, specifically like our video work for our clients, and so putting together some Instagram stories for that one of our larger clients. So he's great. It's been an interesting shift in the dynamic of our relationship, now that he's kind of a business partner and we're working on things, but it's great. And it's good to have at Brand Ethos. I mean, I'm the veteran, I guess, and I don't feel like I'm old by any stretch, but it's nice as we market to different age groups, especially with social media, to have that 22-year-old, on the team. And there's sometimes when he's like, nope, we're going to do it differently. And I listen to him. because he knows. And so gone are the days where the person that had the most gray hair in the room was always the smartest. Gone are the, you know.
I'm a huge advocate of that. I really do believe that the millennials, or whatever label we want to put on a younger generation, and those seasoned business people they each learn from each other.
Yeah.
And I have a strategic partner who's 23, and he does all my back end social media stuff, which I'm I don't know any of that.
Yeah.
And so we've actually made a really, really good working partnership, because he also is an experienced in more the business, developing business relationships, and a lot of those things that come with being in business for years and years and years. So it's actually it's very good.
Yeah.
It's super, but there's always a but. There sometimes can be a little bit of the headbutting too, which I'm having to learn how to work through some of that.
Yeah.
Like when I say I need it today, and 2 days from now it hasn't happened yet, I'm like going, no, I need this on baby boomer time, not millennial time.
Yeah. 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 Well, we haven't run into that yet. And maybe I think he'll clear it up. I'm just kidding. I think there's value from both sides. I mean, I think he sees things from a certain lens, and I think what he'll sometimes say, I'll write a strategy document, or I'll write something, and he's like, "Wow, you're a rock star." So I think the processes, especially in communications and branding and marketing, and we try at Brand Ethos to try to do them in a way that, whether it was like for this big global company, or if I'm doing it for one of my clients who, because she's in the book, Donita, it's the same discipline. It really is. And so what I try to show him is, like, you can create a great video and you can create great, cute little social media posts. But the reality is that the discipline and the strategy and the messaging behind what I should say and do has to be on point, or else it's just fluffy. So,
yeah, exactly. Do you have an audience, a target audience of people you work with that you would say, like, falls in a certain category, or?
Not exactly. I mean, like the perfect client for us. Not exactly. I mean, I think that when we can really make an impact, I should say, is when a company needs a chief marketing officer with my experience, or, my business partner, Mike Vaquera, someone, just a big experienced team, but you can't afford it. So the biggest mistake that some small and mid-sized companies do is they'll try to say, well, you know what, I can't afford that, but I need a marketing person. So they hire someone junior, but they expect them to do that, you know? Yep. And so this is a way that we bring, so you get a piece of Alicia, you get a piece of Austin, the millennial, or actually, I think he's like a Gen Z, I think we figured out the other day.
Yeah.
So, you get an outsourced team. So you get the CMO and you get the people that do the work. So you get all of that, but you're paying less than you would for that one person, right? Because package it in such a way. So, I don't outsourced marketing team would be one way to do it, but really better than you could afford if you tried to hire it on your own. And I think that's really where we shine, because we can come in and make an impact. We're not an agency. I mean, maybe in some people like textbook description we are, but we really are an outsourced team, because we come in, we do the work, and we take on almost like a job description, if you will, versus, just telling people or regurgitating what they already know about their business. So, that's, I'd say, a small to mid-sized company. We do have some personal branding clients, but I think more of the companies that use us will experience the biggest growth.
Right. Very cool.
Yeah.
So let's flip this back to the book for a few minutes, because I talked a lot about what my vision or idea is. So a couple of questions. Why did you do it, and what do you hope that, not so much that you get out of it, what do you hope that readers are going to get out of it?
Oh God. Okay. Well, I mean, without giving away what the whole story, when I was in the middle of the medical stuff last
Mm-hmm.
year, I had a couple of people that I did not know. I mean, I had one friend that had been through something similar, and she's amazing, and so I talked to her. But I had two people that I just didn't know, and they spoke
Mm-hmm.
to me about their particular, situation that was very similar to mine, and I kind of worked through a decision. And I remember thinking, if I make it through this, and there wasn't a question whether I was going to make it through, but I had some concerns. So it wasn't, we all have those little voices in our head.
Oh yeah.
But I remember thinking, if I can successfully do this, okay, man, do I want to pay it forward,
Right. Right.
and and maybe give someone else, whether it's the information, the courage to make a tough decision, and that tough decision could be my medical stuff, and the tough decision could also be to have the courage to leave a job. I had flexibility. I did not have another job. you know
Yeah.
and to say, what, I love me more than I love this, and this is not good for healthy Alicia, so I have to make this decision. And you know it was shared with me that some people that the company that I resigned from said, that surgery made her mental, talking about me when I quit so abruptly after. And that stung a little bit, as you can
Yeah.
imagine. But the irony of that, and the reason I want to share that, is that I've never been less mental in making a decision like that. I've never looked at something with such clarity. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. I know. I do. Yeah.
and although it may look it, and I was weepy and it was hard and everything, but the clarity that it takes to make a decision for yourself, no matter what someone is going through, medical, professional, relationship wise, you name it,
Yeah.
you just have to say, what, I'm going to close this door, and I'm going to look for that door that God's going to open for me, and I'm going to run right through it.
Right.
So that's my goal. I hope that, someone would read my story and say, gosh, I could do this. Or gosh, I wish I could meet her. Like, you know what I mean? If somebody just, because I would love to talk to people and say, you can
Yeah.
do it, whatever it is,
Well, I don't know. Thank you for sharing that. And I don't know where it's all going to end up going. I can't speak for all the people that are in the book, but I'm really seeing the lemonade stand as a community. And I've seen it happen as more women started, we started with this little core group of a few women who came on board, and then and everybody came through as a referral. I mean, I wasn't out there fishing with Facebook ads or anything like that. It was all purely referrals. And the more it grew, the more it became a very powerful group, that it just came together like we all just wanted to be there for each other. And I never expected that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't necessarily like that's what I wanted to see. And then as I have seen it, then I start to think, well, I don't know, there's something bigger than this. So who knows? So maybe the lemonade stand will be, people will email you and get through to you that way, or any other collaborators. But I hope that we can be a resource in some way, that it's not just a book that gets read, but perhaps some way we can put something together that it becomes more than that. Because there's a lot of people out there who are hurting. There's a lot of mental health issues, physical health issues, and this book has everything. It has job loss, it has health issues, it has domestic violence, abuse, all kinds of things. And so it doesn't touch just one area of trauma. So having said that, yeah, all we can do is get the book out first.
I think what's interesting, and I think that the situ, like in my particular case, is similar to some of the other contributors,
Mm-hmm.
is, we're just, to your point, regular women that did extraordinary things, right? And somebody put on my Facebook page this weekend, a friend of mine, there was like, what you are if you have 4 kids. And she was like, Alicia, you're that magical unicorn. Because people that know me are like, how does she do it? She works. Keeps up with the kids. She makes dinner every night. I'm at every sporting event. I'm super, super present. My parents tell me I'm overscheduled, but really it's a well-oiled machine, and I get it all done. And so I think the people that know me and that live their lives with me in this community where my kids go to school and everything, when they read the book, I think they're going to be like, oh my God, like she looks like she has it all together, but you know what? She was really crying in the corner. And I think most people, we all do it.
Yeah.
Even the people that look the most put together, we all do it. And it's absolutely okay to show your weakness. And so I hope that by showing mine, and it might mean less to people that don't live next to me on a day-to-day basis, but hopefully by, kind of showing my vulnerability, it'll help someone maybe admit to theirs and to lean on their village like I leaned on mine. I had meal trains. I mean, I had more meals coming our way during all of my stuff. And it was such a blessing. And I think I approached everything, which, I mean, if you get me crying, it'll be this, which is gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you're extraordinary. And I really, really appreciate not only your contribution to the book, well, I was going to say, but also to the podcast, but the podcast is contributing to the book too. So just overall, just putting yourself out there again in all your vulnerability and be willing to share. And I really look forward to a continuing relationship because you're just a really cool person.
Well, thank you. So are you. And you get all the credit for putting everybody together and really creating this very cool community of women. So I'm excited for you and I'm just thankful for what you're doing together, and hopefully together we can all make an impact, which will be even better. So
thank you so much. And we will be looking, we don't have an exact date, but we are looking for launch around Thanksgiving. So we'll be putting out plenty of announcements and, and letting people know when that's going to happen with pre-sales and things like that. So listeners out there, be looking for it. It's going to be really dynamic. And thank you, Alicia. And at that, I'm going to sign off and say, let's see, what day is this today? Is this Thursday? I lose track of time.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday. Happy hump day.
Yes, absolutely. We call it Work Hard Wednesday at Brand Ethos, but hump day sounds good. So.
All right. Thanks again so much, and bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.